Hello, everybody. Welcome. Glad to be with you again, whether you're catching us on Facebook Live or on the podcast afterwards or on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. I should introduce us in case you don't know us.
Sonica,
Sonica, Christian,
Christian.
we're the founders of the LoveWorks Solution. Um, we had a man ask us a question that I feel is relevant for our Corona times and relationships, and as a matter of fact, I think he speaks for a lot of people. He said, my boyfriend and I, we don't live together. And, we wanting to respect the restrictions and we also want to see each other. We want to take care of the other people that live in our respective houses. What do we do? Like, how do we go about that? Do we just meet anyway? Do we not at all? It's really difficult to not see each other at all. So what do we do? And we thought we'd share some ideas with you about that.
Yep, I was just on the phone actually with a client who was saying the same thing. Like her and her boyfriend live an hour apart and working from home. And yeah, how do they honor this while also staying in relationship? And really, kind of how we think of it is it's a little bit like having a long distance relationship.
Like we're all in long distance relationships all of a sudden.
And Christian and I actually, for those of you who don't know us, Christian and I, when we first got together, he was living in Denmark and I was living in California. And so we had very long periods, sometimes 3.5, 4 months, where we would mostly only connect by phone. And this was before FaceTime and, texting and all of the different modes of connection that we have nowadays. And we used that time to create the kinds of experiences we imagined we would have if we were together.
Yeah, just by old-fashioned landline phones and emails.
And really, I will say we've kind of been giving ideas on these different calls about how to go deep, but literally we would I remember I would lay in bed with the phone to my ear and we would pretend like we were snuggled up to each other. And he would say things like, imagine that my arms are around you
Yeah,
right
like I'm
now.
putting my arm around you right now. Oh, I'm leaning my head on yours, or I'm giving you a big kiss right now. I'm not going to do that in front of everybody right here, but we would then.
And really, we were with each other on the phone the way we would have been if we were together. And we were using our imagination to support ourselves to drop into that feeling that we really were wanting from being together.
And I'll give you a hot tip for how to connect with your partner or loved ones who you can't see in person right now. And I know most of us now these days we use Skype or FaceTime or Zoom, but I'm actually gonna the hot tip is to try to use your phone as an actual telephone. Like turn the picture off. Don't do FaceTime. Do an old-fashioned phone call. So you have the sound of your loved one right in your ear and you speak right into the microphone. There is an effect you can make of that is deeply intimate. When you have the microphone, like it's kind of like when I'm coming closer to the microphone now, and the sound that comes from your voice can be electrifying if that's the voice of your loved one that comes right into your ear, just whispering sweet nothings. Or, like we said, imagine I'm putting my arm around you right now. Imagine I'm giving you a big kiss right on your lips right now. Imagine whatever, like speak to each other like that. And as you do it, close your eyes as you listen to the voice of your loved one. So it's like that's all there is. You're creating the space in your mind and your body will react to that. And I know it's a little bit of a challenge in today's world. We are so accustomed to the visual experience, which is super cool. It allows us to connect with you from wherever you are. And it can be really powerful to remove the visual input because your visual input accounts for the vast majority of your sensory input. Something like 90% of your sensory input comes through your eyes. So if you remove that, you immediately heighten all your other senses. And really what we're missing when we can't be with each other is that, it's the physical sensation that we get from touching, looking in each other's eyes, kissing. And if you close your eyes, you get much closer to actually being able to reproduce that, even just for a few minutes at a time.
And it, you know, it doesn't really take much also of that kind of quality focused, imaginative, creative time to recreate that experience that we're longing for from physical contact. And I'll say, you know, another thing I used to do as well is, and again, this was before all of, you know, FaceTime, and we were also on opposite time frames, right? So I would be awake while he was sleeping, and same vice versa. So I used to carry around one of those old-fashioned little tape recorders. And as I was out and bustling about and doing whatever, I would just share what I was experiencing as I was experiencing it. And so it was kind of a way of getting to share in my day with him as it was happening, even though he wasn't there.
Yeah. And you can do it. It's even easier today, right? You just bring your phone, you record a voice memo as you're taking a walk. Maybe it's you just walking around out in nature or in the park by yourself. Turn on the voice memo and talk to your partner and then text it over. That also gives a really nice, intimate experience.
You know, another idea somebody just shared with me a couple of days ago, actually, she was saying on Zoom that I guess if you make the screen really big and you just focus in on one face, that you can have the experience of making eye contact with the person that you're doing Zoom with. You know, so instead of it being this little picture in this little frame where your eyes aren't really meeting, that if you
just magnify the speaker.
Yeah, you just magnify it, and then it gives you the experience of making eye contact with the person over there, which I thought was, I'm an eye contact person, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Actually. I know, it is kind of cool. And here, we'll share one more story with you. And before, and you know, one tip, these are a few of our tips for how you make the longer distance relationship rich and deep and, you know, mirror the experience you would have when you're together physically. It would be really fun if you have good ideas for, like, what are some of the things you have done with your partner or someone else you care about. How have you created connection, intimacy, if you can't see each other? If you put those ideas in the comments, that could be useful for everybody else coming to check this out, and I'd have fun looking at what you're sharing.
Here, before you do that, I just want to share one other thing.
Cool.
Which is that sometimes when we are connecting, our tendency is to be really superficial. And so that was another thing that we would definitely bring to our focused quality time with each other on the phone, is really going deep and sharing our feelings, or, you know, like on purpose sharing stuff that was really meaningful and mattered to us. And not just, you know, doing like what I had for dinner and kinds of conversations.
Yeah. So the one other story we'll share, that someone in our program came up with this great idea. This is a single woman, and she's got a really good friend, not a lover or romantic partner, but a really good friend who also lives by himself. And they came up with the idea of being exclusive. Like, they went exclusive as each other's kind of corona partners. So in this time, they stay in the shelter in place or self-quarantined. You know, they might go out on their individual walks here and there, and they don't hang out with other people, you know, in close proximity, so that it's kind of like they keep themselves uncontaminated
for each other.
So they are now going exclusive in the corona times. And I just thought that was a fun and creative way to do it, and a way to take care of both of their needs, to have companionship and someone to take walks with and someone to chat with.
And really, you know, you could do the same thing, like as a couple with another couple, right? Where you kind of commit to keeping yourselves clean for each other, but you get to still have, you know, sort of inside that agreement, a safe container for continuing to interact with each other.
Yeah. So we're we're always looking for ways to keep relationships deep and intimate and connected. And this is definitely a time that calls for all the creativity we can muster, because, you know, we don't know if this is going to be over next week or it's going to go on for 3 months.
And really, it's a great opportunity to practice all the same skills and tools you'd be practicing if you were with each other. Like, how do we make connecting a priority, and how do we help ourselves go deep? And we even figured out how to have sex over the phone. So, you know, like, you can get pretty creative.
So, yeah, if you got good ideas, share them in the comments. And we'd love to see those. And we trust that will be useful for other people who are in the same struggle right now.
Yeah.
So until we meet tomorrow, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on the Facebook page here, take really good care of yourself and each other.
Bye, everybody. Mwah.